Hello and welcome to a special series of Blocktalk, which we're calling Blocktalk Explores. These quick listen episodes will be split by topic area, as our guests, who are all industry leaders in Scotland, will be discussing three specific industry topics. Topic number one is education and awareness of the industry and what property factors do. Number two is recruitment within the industry and any challenges that they see. And the third one is customer care. We'll release 2 episodes in week 1, and the third will be released the following week. We hope you enjoy the series, and as always, it would be great to hear your feedback. Hello and welcome to a special series of the Blocktalk podcast, Blocktalk Explores. Today's guest, who is an industry leader in Scotland, is David Doran. David is the Managing Director of Hacking & Patterson Management Services and also a Fellow of the Institute of Residential Property Management. David, good to have you on again. You've been on before. How are you?
Glad to be on, Brian. Yes, glad to be back. Good to see you again. The last time it was over a telephone, so we're getting closer to face-to-face. So.
That's very true. We should set up a studio to do these chats. That'll be the next step. It was audio and then video, wasn't it? So we could do it like that. Yeah, okay. That's something to think about, actually. Okay, so 3 kind of subject areas to cover today, David. Although we'll split it into kind of probably 3 different releases of the podcast. So first one's on education. So Hacking & Patterson, what are they doing to raise awareness of what Property Factor's role is and what the flat owners, landlords, so owners' role is, and kind of different roles?
I think we've been doing something for 100 years. We celebrated this year, and that's trying to kind of educate and advise your clients as they come into common ownership, because I think that's a big problem. There's a lot of people coming into common ownership models don't quite fully appreciate what they're entering into or what they're signing up to. So as an organisation, we've always tried to give out to the industry and be part of the industry body, PMAS, to respond to consultations in the property industry and also to serve on governmental groups. You know, as we've talked about before, I've served in the cladding work groups. Predecessors have served on property-related governmental groups and given evidence to the Law Commission committees of the Scottish Government where and when it's to do with, bettering common maintenance. So we do that on a daily basis. That's something we're constantly kind of beating our drum about, is to try and get what the relationship, but I suppose it's better not what we do and what owners do. I think it's more how that relationship needs to work together for the single benefit of the property that these people are living in, because it's a lot of time that's forgotten about, is actually the purpose of why you have a property factor and why an owner has responsibilities for maintenance, and that is that these properties should ultimately outlive all of us. If they're properly maintained. So you're not only looking at the past, you're looking at the future, and the future kind of built environment of Scotland. So it's all about trying to promote that. I think as a company, I might be biased, but I think we've got the most informative website amongst our peer group, and that we have a whole lot of information on customer support, how that links into everything to do with property maintenance. We've got an excellent links page that takes you to Under One Roof, that takes you to local authorities. And also we try and keep our news stories, industry news stories, up to date, which is all educational. We're slowly moving into the world of social media and trying to generate that through LinkedIn as well. And obviously through our portals, any of these news stories, etc., are uploaded directly to our client portals to try and, generate some talking points with our customers and maybe highlight their interest in areas that they've maybe not thought about before. Also, in more recent times, in terms of educating our people, I suppose, who in then turn can educate, the homeowners and those outside is IRPM. And our goal is currently, at the moment in time, we've got 28 people going through the IRPM diploma.
Wow.
And our view is to have all of our customer-facing staff as a start, going through the process, which at the moment we have about 75, 76, direct factoring staff. And so that's what we're trying to do to get the message out there of why it's good to maintain your property and why factors can help you do that.
Yeah. No, that's a good number through IRPM as well. I think, the education thing has come up, over the last, 2.5 years of doing the podcast or whatever it is, it's come up a lot. I remember sitting at a dinner once, and I can't remember which one it was, and there was a person. So I mean, they asked me what I did for a living, and they were an accountant, and they turned around and said, yeah. Oh, I get that. Yeah, I've got a factor. I've been paying them for years, and then something broke, and they want to charge me to do it again. And it's like, there's just that, non-understanding. And I think, and I've bought my kids a couple of flats recently, just kind of investment things. And trying to explain to them as well, what this is that they need to pay for. Oh, so I get all that money. And I'm like, no. You got to pay your letting fee and you got to pay your factors fee. Yeah. And there's also the people who are downsizing as well, because, my parents, my dad, my mum's away, but my dad's 87. If he moved in a flat, he wouldn't even know what a factor was because he's lived in a private house his entire life. So you get all of these people who are entering into communal living that don't necessarily understand what it is.
Yeah, I've been tending to flip it a little bit lately, though, and say a lot of it is perception, and I'll talk about perception probably a lot, but a lot of it is we perceive that nobody likes factors and nobody understands factors. But if that was the case, there would be a lot more problems trying to maintain buildings. I think actually the majority of people, or most people, do understand their obligations in maintaining their building. They do understand why a good relationship with a factor helps maintain their building, and they actually understand what a factor does and what they're paying for. Because if they didn't, people wouldn't be paying. Buildings wouldn't be really getting maintained. But on the whole, it works, and on the whole, people do understand. But as with most things, it's those that don't understand it fully that shout the loudest. And it's perhaps gives this perception that it's widespread problem. And in actual fact, we're probably talking about a minority of the Scottish homeowner that don't fully understand what they're meant to do.
Okay, so do you think the industry should be doing more as a whole? And if so, what?
I think you would struggle to find, I suppose obviously you can always do a little bit more, but I think as an industry, the industry is quite proactive. It does a lot of unforeseen work. The Property Managers Association, the kind of industry body, are involved in every other of the groups. They're involved with Scottish Government groups under one roof. IRPM, they're kind of spreading their wings to try and get the message across. But I think this historical baggage that we've talked about of the word factoring, that in itself is a difficult hurdle for getting the good message out there. And the only way we've been trying to promote recently is that needs to come from elsewhere. So that the message about factoring needs to come from other sources, whether it's RICS, IRPM, Scottish Government, MSPs, focusing on the positive aspects of it, which far outweigh the negative aspects of it. And I think if that's how the messaging goes and improves, I think that will bring the industry not up to a better standard, because I think it's at a good standard, but it will bring the imagery of the standard of the industry up. And I think I don't think the industry as itself, it's been regulated now for 11, 12 years. The FTT complaint side of thing is very minimal. Most complaints that are received are for minor communication issues.
Yeah.
So when you look at the bigger picture, it is a good industry filled predominantly with good people, good companies doing good work. So I think the industry is doing pretty much as it can. From my point of view, probably doing what I'm doing here is and flipping the story a little bit, and looking at the positives more as an industry might help to develop that relationship a bit better.
Okay, so I guess, the last question, which I think you probably covered actually, was more about, are there any other solutions? But I mean, is there anything else you want to add? Or because I get the whole NSP. The other thing is as well, education from, when you buy a property, the person that's speaking to the person buying it is a solicitor as well. So, educational through things like that as well. Do you think there's anything else, or do you think you've covered it?
Probably collaboration, as you've talked about, collaboration within all the facets of the property industry, estate agency, letting agency, the law commission, planning, all of these people speaking to each other and, fully understanding, probably from the planning stage, what's going to be involved in a development, so that the planners understand it, then the developers understand it, then the builders understand it.
Yeah.
Then the selling agents understand it, the solicitors involved in the sales. So there is no surprises. Everyone's painted this picture of this is a building and this is what it will cost you as an owner moving forward. I think if that collaboration could be slicker, I think there is collaboration there, but I think if it could be slicker and more noticeable to the purchaser, I think that's probably the only solution I could see that would probably better things.
Excellent. Okay, that's really good. That's really useful and a good insight into kind of your views on that.